for the second of two, and just trying to get my graphics all set up here for the broadcast. As always, hustling when we're this close back to back. And we got Meatball City and Hexx here. Let me get my scoreboard squared away. And Drew Chaveria, one hopper over to Nick Casano, and that'll be the first out of the ball game. So Drew Chaveria hits a ground ball right up the middle to Nick Casanos, and Nick handles it cleanly for the first out. And that's going to bring up John Ryan Doss. And he swings and he slashes a base hit to center field. So, sorry folks, still trying to get my scoreboard squared away here. And that's going to bring up Mike Wiz. And Mike swings and he flips it the other way. Doss going to make it to third. Runners on the corner. So Meatball City got walked off on the other diamond. And I believe the final there was 11-10. So tough, heartbreaking loss. Here comes Nick Wiz.
I got you. Get off one, Mike. He's nowhere near you.
So Hexx tried to come back. And there's a little flare, and that's going to drop one run. Now the ball bounces away. And now the runner's going to turn and burn, and 2 runs are going to score on a little bloop opposite way. So Nick Wiz didn't hit it very good. Flared in front of Mikey Oliver, and then it kicked away from him, and 2 runs scored. Here's Brian Nowakowski. So Meatball City up to an early 2-0 lead here. And Brian, a little ground ball. Nick Kimmer, long throw, not in time. Now the ball gets away, and Wiz is going to score.
Good ball, Bino. Hey, Drew.
So that was a perfect example. The base runner was cutting in front of Kimmer. He kind of bobbled it a little bit, made the throw. It was in the dirt. Richie Battistoni couldn't handle it. Here comes Jake Majerus. So here's Drew Chaveria. Had Drew for a couple of years. He broke his ankle late last year. Drew was leading off for money line. And
it's literally whoever behind you will catch it here.
Talked to his dad, Phil, when I was using the restroom in between games real quick.
Liners through, 1 out. All right.
Drew told him it feels weird. He got some kind of hardware in that ankle.
Come on, Brian, work for that, Brian.
Phil did tell me that Drew told him it doesn't hurt or anything. So 3-0 very early here, 1 out. And Majerus drives it, but right at the center fielder, Brandon makes that. I believe that's Brandon makes the play. So that's 2 outs. So a couple of changes in the lineup. Richie Battistoni playing a little first base in this game. Looks like Donnie Sullivan is going to be on the bench. Eric Nedzilla playing second. Again, I did not actually get a lineup card, but I know most of the Hexx guys, so we'll. And here is Jose Godinez, and that ball trickled past, and Drew is going to try it. Throw to the plate, safe. So little ground ball, it snuck through Kimmer, and Drew Chaveria, apparently no ankle problems on that, as he scored all the way from first on a little ground ball that slithered through Nick Kimmer, and Jose Godinez ends up going to second.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Good job, Jose.
So Hexx defensively off to a rough start here. And here's Pops Alejandro.
Now you three.
Of course, Joel Mago Styling Cave over here at first. His brother and Pops a little flip shot, but right at Nidzilla throughout number one. Don't you owe me a video?
Oh yeah, you want to see it?
I don't want to see it. I want you to send it to me.
You know what? I don't know how to send it to you because it said it's like a little bit past 2 minutes. So I got to talk to you after the game. It's a good one though. You'll like it.
Okay, after the game, you're on. So very good first inning. Told you I had some surprises coming. Joel, a SSA corporate partner, Mago Styling Cave.
Let's go, guys. Come on. Tighten up.
He's got a little feature. He's going to be doing some videos for us. And we'll be showing them as the season goes on.
Pick me up. Let's go. Hey, hard PM. Hey, we don't give them nothing.
So it's going to be Curtis Ostrom leading off. For Hexx, Nick Casano and Al Rice, as Hexx finds themselves in an early deficit of 4-0. And there's a well, Joe, you're going to have to go back and rewind the tape. It was a strange inning. And there's a little pop-up, and that is handled easily there by the shortstop, Mike Wiz.
Yeah. Hey, Pop. Hey, Pop. Your left hand, Pop.
So here comes Casano.
Come on, Nick. Get out there. JR, let's go. Let's go home.
So I didn't give you my 16-inch softball Chicago style spiel. We'll get to that between innings for you new people checking us out, wondering what the heck this is. And Casano's right back to JR, and he makes the play for out number two, excuse me. And here's Al Rice. So Hexx there in that top of the first, a little sloppy with the ball. Certainly it's part of the reason why Meatball City was able to plate 4. And Rice swings and hits it hard, long run. Left fielder makes a nice catch as he goes down on a knee to make the play.
Hey, pick me up. Let's go.
So good job there. Left fielder got a great break on it. Jake Calaveros. And we're going to head to the top of the second, 4-0. Meatball City.
Let's go, fellas. Make me run. Come on, boys.
So it's going to be Eric Coppersmith, Jake Caballero, and then the top of the lineup in Drew Chavarria. So this is Chicago 16-inch style softball. You're seeing it correct. No gloves. 60-foot bases. You can lead off. You can't steal. Pitching rubber, 38 feet from the rubber to the point of home plate. 6-12 on the arc. Open count. Because we're playing no glove, the pitcher gets a drag step. 1 step left, right, or back. He gets 2 fakes or hesitation. Third arm action must be to throw the ball home. And Coppersmith pounds it on the ground over to Casanos. Long throw in time for out number 1. A throw or fake to a base is considered one of your fakes or hesitations. It is not a mush ball. This ball comes out of the box pretty firm. And we use heavy bats. They can weigh up to 38 ounces, 34 inches long, 2 1/4 on the barrel. No fences. It's all you can get. Here's Jake, the left fielder.
Come on, Cavers.
And there's a little flare, and that's going to spin foul down the line. Again, open count. First of many broadcasts of this outdoor summer season out here in Chicago. We got a pretty full schedule. We'll probably end up doing over 200 games this summer, including our Chicago Summer Series. You see that logo in the lower left-hand corner where we tie the major events together, keep scores, and we track the individual summer leaders throughout the events. We have our team standings as well, point standings. And it's fun stuff. Little ground ball to third, handled by Scahill for out number 2. And that's going to bring up Drew Chavaria. I'd like to thank Sweet Buzz. If you're an adult and you're use infused products, you want to check them out. Of course, Nick Drabel from Moneyline started that company with his a couple other family members last year. They're doing well. If you want to know more about it, check them out and talk to Nick at any of these events. And Drew puts a charge into it. Going way back, though, is Curtis Ostrom, a little too much air. And Curtis runs it down. So we head to the bottom of the second, 1, 2, 3 there. It's exactly what Hexx needed. And it's always tough. I had Drew for a couple of years. And I was telling his dad, every time he really started to settle in and really show you the massive potential that he had as a softball guy. He actually played football for a couple of years in college, and every time he really started settling in, he just always seemed to get an ankle problem. Broke his ankle playing football for 1 year. It cost him, and last year, I believe it was maybe the first or second game at the No Glove, he broke his ankle. And he was really starting to hammer the ball last summer. So here's Mike Greco, Rob Scahill on deck. And Greco, nice pitch by Doss. He gets him to hit a high fly ball to Chavaria, just a couple of steps, and made the catch. And that's going to bring up Scahill. So definite chill in the air out here. Again last year, and there's a little ground ball. Pops Alejandro, very uncharacteristic. Pops one of the more sure-handed middle infielders that we have in 16-inch softball, and he's not too happy with the bobble.
Hits it hard. Watch your middle.
And here comes Mike Oliver. Richie Battistoni on deck, I believe. Oh.
One to your right, Jake.
like in Meatball City last year, they came out of the gate just firing. Had a real good Westchester TOC in. They looked like they were going to be a problem last year. And here's Oliver, pops, and they call him out at second. And we'll show you the replay. Pops, after not handling the easy one, came back and made a circus play here. You could see the ball popped up, and then he caught and spun. Bang, bang at second. 2 outs. Here's Richie Battistoni. Hexx had a couple of balls like that in the first inning that bounced around off of infielders, and they didn't make the play. And that time you see Pops just kind of stayed right with it. And Pops isn't what I would call fast, but he is quick in small space. And Richie just kind of punches it toward right center. Oliver is going to score the first Hexx run as Battistoni. Nice piece of hitting there as he just threw it out into right center for an RBI, and he puts him on the board at 4-1. 2 outs. Oliver was running all the way, and he scored without a problem. And that's going to bring up Nick Kimmer. And Mike Greco comes out to courtesy run. So Hexx on the board at 4-1.
Half step to your left.
Looks like Brian Sloan on deck. And there's a strike. So 2 strikes here. Kimmer, little ground ball, and Jose Godinez makes the play. So we're going to head now. Heading out to the top of the 3rd inning, 4-1, Meatball City. And again, like I said last year, Meatball got out of the gate really good, and then they just kind of, as the season went on, they just seemed like they just kind of got out of rhythm and just never could kind of put it back together again. And then when they got to the no glove, you know, toward the end of the year, they were just having some injury problems, and just the year kind of got away from them. So here's JR, then it'll be Mike and Nick Wiz. JR got that 4-run first, started with a base hit. And there he goes hard off of Brian Sloan, and they get the out. And Brian kind of looked like a guy in basketball boxing out there, because he got that body kind of right in the way here, and you can see the runner really had nowhere to go. And that's kind of interesting. You could see there on the replay, JR was actually inside the foul line on the field of play in fair territory. So had he run into Brian, they probably would have called him out. As a base runner, you got to be in foul territory running down that line. Come on, Michael! So here's Mike Wiz now. Nobody on. And Wiz, another base hit. Hit a line drive that way his first time up. This time he hits a hard ground ball. Here comes Nick Wiz. Nick had a 2-run RBI single in the first. Hit a little flare in front of Oliver, and it took a crazy hop. I'm not sure what they're talking about here, but and again, I always laugh when coaches and players make such a big deal out of what they perceive and what they want the strike zone to be versus what the umpire is calling it. And I'm a big believer that you've got to adapt to whoever the umpire is, because calling balls and strikes is more of an art than a science. And that's another flare, and it drops. So Nick Wiz's second duck snort, literally. And he's making a joke. It's 2 for 2. He's telling the guys on the bench, I don't think I ever want to squirrel one up again. These are all dropping. So here's Brian Nowakowski. Brian hits the ball hard, but he is a double plate possibility if he lays it on the carpet. You got a lot of big beef here. You got 2 big kids in the Whiz Boys on base, and then you got Nowakowski in the batter's box. And Brian hits a ground ball through the open hole. And now the ball kicks around out there, and Nowakowski hustling makes it to second. So Nowakowski, I glanced back just as the ball was going into the outfield. It looked like Eric Nidzinski. He kind of broke down and leaned toward the right field line, because Brian the way he kind of opened up, I think he thought he was going to try to go to right field, and instead he kind of got that barrel through and punched it up the middle. So here's Jake Majerus, 1 out now, second and third, 5-1. Meatball City trying to really get some separation. And that's on the plate, but Jose Godinez on deck. And Jake hits a line drive, but right at Casanos for out number 2. We've seen that a couple of times tonight. In the first game, I should say, we've seen it a couple of times where Mike Manzella did it for Flash. He had second and third and hit a line drive at Casanos. So here's Godinez. And I tell you, the middle of this lineup, when you're looking at the Wiz brothers, Nowakowski and Godinez, this Meatball City got a little pop. Drew Chavarria, a very strong kid. So is Eric Coppersmith. So, and like I said, at the beginning of last year, they looked like they were going to be a problem. And Jose, a little knuckleball into the alley, and that's going to score 2. So Jose Godinez, you might remember him from YTD. And of course, John Ryan was also on that team. And here's Pops Alejandro. So early 7-1 lead here.
Way deep, way deep, way deep, way deep. Keep it in, you're good.
And I do like Meatball City because they are. And there's a little cut job toward the gap. Nobody's going to get to it. Play at third, and Jose slides in. Well, he didn't slide in. He did more of a limbo there. Scahill waved the tag, and Jose kind of leaned back a little bit as he was running to avoid being swiped. So 2 more ducks on the pond here for Eric Coppersmith. And again, some of this has been good offense, a couple of bloops along the way, but some of it is bad defense. And that ball jumps up and bites Kimmer, and 2 more are going to score. So right now, Meatball City, everything bouncing and rolling their way here. They're up 9-1. And they're going to make the changes. Joey Carbs, who wasn't here in the first game, has shown up, and they go to their backup pitcher at 9-1 here. Brings up Jake Caballero. So they have. This is the 8th hitter of the inning now. Big inning here for Meatball City. Sure, Amalia is enjoying it. She's a big Meatball City fan. And there's a swing, and he gets a base hit. And little interference there. I don't know if the umpire saw it, but Jake Majerus, running for Coppersmith, bumped into Kimmer a little bit. Runners at the corner, and here's Drew Cheveria.
Yeah, it's 2 outs. You're good, you're good. He's creeping a little bit.
Drew's hit a couple of balls hard, but hasn't gotten any love. And now he hits another high towering bomb, but Curtis is there. So Drew's putting a good swing on it. You can tell he doesn't really have it quite on the right plane. He's getting a little too much air under it. But good inning there as they put up 5 more and they go up 9-1. Still early. So we are only in the bottom of the 3rd. And here comes Eric Nidzella to lead off. So Meatball City scored a 10-piece in their first game, ended up losing by a run. They've already put up 9 here. And on the other diamond, it looks like it's 2-2 between Flashback and March. And there's a little ground ball right to Godinez, and that'll be out number 1. Very interesting. March's claim to fame last year was that I think they were 6-0 against BTA. And in all 6 of those games, they had fallen way behind and then came roaring back. BTA's stellar defensive game last night as they beat Wales 6-2. And that's really BTA's bread and butter. The year they won the SSA Gold Rush Gaming Major National Championship Tournament, their defense in Joliet that year was ridiculous. And Nidzella throws out a base hit as he yanks that between 3rd and short, so the leadoff man on, and it brings up the young center fielder, Brandon. And then it'll be the top of the lineup with Curtis Ostrom. Of course, Brandon, very quick. He's a young player. Hexx trying to bring him along. Certainly covers a lot of ground in the outfield. I think Brandon's got a chance to be a pretty good player. I'd like to see him with a little less hand motion and action there. And that ball, he pops it up, and it's gonna drop it as a base hit. So after Nick Wiz got a couple of bloops, Brandon throws his own out there. As I was saying, you're a little loose with the hands as he's in the box, the bat and everything is waving. And what happens when you get a lot of extra movement like that is you're going to have periods where you just seem to lock in and everything plays on time. And then you're going to have times when either fakes or whatever that the pitcher does. Here's Ostrom. Ground ball to 3rd. He'll step on it for 1, and they get the fielder's choice. And then sometimes when you got movement like that, the bat's always in a different position, and it's hard to have that consistent swing.
Hey, hard over the infield.
So here's Nick Casano, 2 out now, 1st and 2nd. And there's a hard ground ball. and a little backhand flip. So the shortstop, Mike Wiz, instead of throwing across, just a backhand flip to third. You know, I don't know if Brandon thought he was necessarily going to go to short way, because he almost looked a little surprised when that ball got flipped and made it over there. You know, Brandon was past the third baseman, so as a base runner, you don't expect that. So Casanos hits into the fielder's choice to end the inning.
Hey, come on, guys.
And we're going to head to the top of the fourth. It's been all money line so far. Money line. It's been all Meatball City to this point. So here's JR. He led off the big third inning as Meatball City batted around. And there's he punches it the other way, and Mikey Oliver makes that play.
Come on.
So here's Mike Wiz, his brother Nick on deck.
Hey, Mike, let's go. Do it again. Here, come on.
This game clipping along. And the wind is virtually non-existent. And I tell you, it's helped because during that first game, it was getting downright chilly with that breeze. And there's a bullet, fair ball down the line. It's going to take the turn. Curtis fell down, and that's all Mike needed to get to third. And here comes Nick Wiz, 2 for 2. Now, a lot of times when you got two flares that have fallen, and that time he hits it on the screws, and I was just about to say his fate would have it. You hit a couple of duck snorts that drop, and then you finally really barrel one up, and it's hard loud out. And that's why when they say they always even out, they always even out. So now that's going to bring up Nowakowski with 2 outs. And Brian trying to drive that 10th run in. And Brian hits a hard ground ball to Kimmer, and he makes that play. So Hexx gets kind of what they needed, which was a goose egg, as we head to the bottom of the fourth, 9-1. So still 2-2 down at the other diamond. I wish I could tell you I would try to give you some bonus coverage, but my legs and back are frozen solid. So there's no shot I'm gonna be able to walk down there. You young kids out there, stay in shape and don't get old. So it's going to be Al Rice, Mike Greco, and Rob Scahill coming up here for Hexx, and they do need an inning because it's starting to get late here. And Al Rice, a wicked line drive toward the alley. That's going to be a double, as Al is going to make it. And Al is kind of deceptive. He's a big, strong guy. And you wouldn't think it, but he runs real well. And Hexx has on many occasions put him into right field. And he's done a good job when he's been out there. So that's going to bring up Mike Greco, leadoff double here. Hexx needs to string some hits together and start chipping away here. And Greco, soft high fly ball, Chavarria there, makes the catch. One hop throw into the cutoff man.
Take care.
Now bring up
Coming hard at
Scahill.
you.
Hey, me last time.
Hey, Mike. Make a play here.
Scale, ground ball knocked down by JR. Everybody's safe. So JR knocked it down. I think Pops Alejandro would have had a play on that. And then as JR went down to the carpet, kept stabbing at the ball, and it just was eking ever so slowly, just out of reach. So runners on the corner, one out here for Oliver. Richie Battistoni on deck. And Oliver hits it up the middle. It sneaks through. One run is in. Scale cruise into third. And we got a 9-2 ball game. And that's going to bring up Richie Battistoni with Nick Kimmer on deck. One out here. Runners on the corner. The outfield playing pretty deep. A lot of green space. I tell kids all the time, if you think you're in a slump, and a lot of times it's really just mental. And sometimes that gets in the way. And there's a little soft fly ball, long run. And nice catch there by Jake Caballeros. But another run will score on the tag from third, 9-3. I always tell kids, if you think you're in a slump, because a lot of times it's like you feel like there's just nowhere to hit the ball. I always tell people, go watch a game down the line, or if there's a fence from right or left center field, and just survey the field and realize how much space there really is. Sometimes when you kind of reframe your mind a little bit, you tend to get a few to drop in. So they do score a couple of runs. I think if you're Meatball City, you feel okay with that. And we're going to head to the fifth inning now, 9-3. So the game's tightened up a little bit. Meatball City's still in control here. And I think it would be a good idea if you're a fan of theirs or a player on their team. You want to keep rolling. You don't want to get static and flat. Or as I used to call it, fat and happy. So it looks like Jake Majerus, Jose Godina, and then Pops Alejandro scheduled hitters here. And I like Meatball City. They're one of the groups that will actually wear the uniforms, and it's kind of a pet peeve.
Hey Jake, let's go.
It cracks me up because most of the teams spend a decent amount of coin on uniforms, and then their guys don't wear them. There's a high fly ball. Curtis puts it away for out number one. So both teams got pretty solid outfields, and if you're going to hit high fly balls, they're going to go get it. So here's Godinez.
Take a few, okay, let's go. Hey! Attaboy, Brian.
Jose gives it a ride, but right at Curtis, and that'll be out number two. Again, I was saying in the dome, best ball is that 10, 11, 13 foot high line drive over the infield. Well, we're seeing our balls hit about 40, 50 feet high in the air and 60 feet in the air, and you got outfielders that are just going to go get that. And that's a high pop-up. And Oliver, whoa, he had a little trouble. I don't know if the heel or what happened there, but all of a sudden he started stumbling. But he holds on. So 1, 2, 3. It's going to bring up Hexx in the bottom of the 5th. So thanks for tuning in, folks. We always appreciate it. Weather permitting, we'll be back out here Thursday. Again, we got a little rain in the forecast tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. So we'll see if we can get them in. If not, next scheduled broadcast will be for the Cinco de Mayo right here in Melrose Park on Saturday. So we will have games for you throughout the day Saturday. And there's a ground ball as Brian Sloan leads off the bottom of the 5th. And Brian's had a pretty good day. He swung good. Would have had another hit in that flashback game, but Mike Myers, second baseman, went back, and as he was backpedaling, reached up with one hand and snagged what looked like was going to be a base hit. So here's Eric Nedzilla, base hit his last time up.
Come on, Jack. Come on, Jack.
Although I haven't taken the cover off my air conditioning unit. House was a little warm yesterday, so I'm glad that it's a little cooler today. Nedzilla, a little knuckleball, nice catch by Jake Caballero. And that's not an easy catch, that ball was dancing. And here's Brandon with Curtis Ostrom on deck. And you might have heard them reminding their infielders that Jake Caballero can run, and he's left-handed. And there's a little high fly ball, and Jake Majerus puts that away. And that's a good example. Brandon, a young hitter, still kind of figuring it out with the bat. We have seen him on occasion have a very good-looking swing, but he's okay. He just needs a little seasoning. And here's Curtis. And Curtis pops that in the air, and Majerus makes the catch. So we're going to head to the 6th. Meatball City. They're cooking in the kitchen here. They lead. So if you're a younger player too, and you're around guys who are good hitters, and Hexx does have some good hitters, it's not just coming out and playing, but you need to pick their brain and watch how some of these guys hit some of the balls they hit, and then you got to put the work in. That's why my pet peeve is when guys waste the practice time that is batting practice before ball games. And now that we're outside in the summer season, most of these leagues will let you, hit before your game. And, if you're a younger player, that's when you need to really take advantage of those 10, 11 swings you get in batting practice. And Eric Coppersmith just punches it out toward the alley for a base hit. And no courtesy run with Pops Alejandro. So leadoff man on here in the 6th. And here comes Jake Caballero with Drew Chiveri on deck. And Jake, a little spinner into the dugout. Was out at the Dome the other day, and when I handed the stick off to Will Ross when he did the 2 innings in the championship game, the 4th and 5th, and Kimmer can't get there, long run, new life, 2 strikes now. Caballero will have to keep it fair. I was on the sideline, and Mike Greco came flying over there. Couldn't get to the ball, but he kind of spun me around a little bit. I was just spectating along with a couple of the flashback guys. And I was joking. Did you see me shed him like a linebacker throwing a running back to the side? Of course, nothing could have been true. None of that statement was true. And there's a throw, not in time. Again, no stealing.
Broken leg.
So Jake Caballero looking to count here after he hit 2 quick foul balls. Takes another one. And again, I think you might have heard Pop saying I was cooked. There's a little ground ball, so Jake does a good job. He moves the runner. And again, when Al Rice pump faked after the pitch before that, Pop said to Al, if you'd have thrown that one, you would have had me. I was cooked because Jake kind of set up like he was going to swing and didn't. And you all know that's my pet peeve. If you're in the box, you got to help your base runner out. So under those circumstances, if you're not going to swing, you got to let the guy know. And Pops is getting a huge lead through Chavarria. And Drew not happy with the pitch selection there. Again, Drew shares trait a lot of really good athletes have. They're very hard on themselves. Sometimes we're a little too hard. And here's JR now, a chance to drive in a run. And he pops it up, but right on the spot is Casanos. So we head to the bottom of the 6th, winning by 6, Meatball City. So it'll be Nick Casanos, Al Rice, and Mike Greco, 2, 3, 4. If you're Hexx, this is where you need to get rolling here. No guarantee these guys at the top are going to get another shot at it. And Nick puts a charge into it, long run, and Jake gets there and made it look easy. This park has got good lights, but there's 2 parts of the park where it does get a little dark. Way down in that corner, and there's talk about putting a light tower there, and way down the left field line on this south field, it gets a little dark. And I know they're talking about putting LED lights on the second diamond, although the lights aren't bad down there. And Al Rice goes toward right center, and he plugs the alley. Good job by Majerus to get there, but Al Rice can end up with a triple. So 1-out triple here. And here comes Greco. Now Rice is a problem. He's got so much pop, you got to play him deep. He can hit the ball to either gap, and we've seen him go hard down either line on occasion. And because of how deep you're playing him, the alleys are so big that when he leans on something and hits a line drive, you got no shot. And that ball carried a long way, but it was basically a line drive, and as an outfielder, you just can't get there. So here's Greco. JR has pitched a solid game to this point.
Yeah!
Now, falling behind a little bit here to Greco, and JR didn't like it. He thought based on where he jumped, he might have caught a couple of corners, and ground ball by Godinez does score a run, but they pick up the second out of the inning, 9-4. So Jose, not your prototypical looking second baseman, but he's handled everything hit his way tonight. You see Pops playing very shallow. I haven't seen a short center play that shallow in a long time. I always said Pops is kind of like, to me, he was a long-time shortstop, was on No Fear, played shortstop, won an MVP and a batting title at an SSA Class A Glove National Championship tournament. And Scahill right up the chute, Cheveria there, and he puts it away. We're going to head to the seventh, 9-4. So I always looked at Pops, and I've made this comment before, that he always reminded me of like Ozzie Guillen. He's not the biggest guy, but he always had good hands. He's got a good quick release, good range, good instincts. And he always kind of just threw the ball hard enough to get you out by a step. So we head to the seventh. If you're Meatball City, you're looking for insurance. If you're Hexx, you're trying to keep it right here. So it's going to be Mike and Nick Wiz, and then Brian Nowakowski, 3, 4, 5.
Call Michael Wiz.
Meatball City with a 5-run lead. And just trying to see what the score is at the other diamond. I can't tell if it's 14-2 or 4-2. They're in this 4-2. All right. Can always rely on the younger guys that got good eyesight. Yeah, that's what Mike was saying. And that ball shot through the hole. And that's his third hit that way tonight. So he is just working the right side of the field. And here's Nick Wiz. He's had a strange night. A couple of flares that fell in, and then he hit a rocket for an out. So leadoff man on here, top of the seventh. And there's a bullet right to Scahill, and the ball gets away from Casano. And that looked like it was going to be maybe tailor-made. Casanos can't handle it.
Pinch runner here.
And here's a pinch runner. If you're Nick Wiz, you gotta be laughing. He's going to be 2 for 4, 2 rockets, and 2 duck snorts, and the duck snorts are the hits. So here's Nowakowski. He goes hard oppo, can't get there, and now Joel got a bad start as he was going to tag there. And here comes a courtesy. See, now that's a situation where if you're Joel, he did make it there because of his speed, but he didn't necessarily have to wait to tag there. But so bases loaded, nobody out, top of the seventh for Jake Majerus, Jose Godinez on deck. And there's a little flare. Cold and frozen. Gio able to backtrack on that and get out of the way. Because Mike Greco was coming like a freight train. So that's a big out, number 1. On a warm day, that would have been a lot easier.
Jose, let's go.
So 1 out here. And Godinez, little ground ball, and they're going to go to shortwave for 1. They'll get credit for 1 RBI there as he makes it a 10-4 ball game. And if you're Hexx, you're not going to be happy about giving up a run, but I think the bases loaded, nobody out, you will take it. If you can get Alejandro out in a little overhand chop, and Kimmer makes the catch. So bases loaded, nobody out, they only pick up one. But that's the good news. The bad news, if you're a Hexx fan, is you're down 6. So that game is still going on down there, I believe. 4-2. Looks like they're in the bottom of the 7th. Flashback's on the field. The visitors are leading. So Flash nursing a 2-run lead down there.
You're gonna drink with us after.
I don't even want to. Not if you're going to be there.
So here's Mikey Oliver leading off. Then it's going to be Richie Battistoni and Nick Kimmer. And there's nothing you can do now if you're Hexx other than look for a pitch and try to execute your best swing. And Oliver scalds one. Nick Wiz looking at his hands as if they betrayed him.
Jason out. Let's go.
Excuse me, Mike Wiz. And Pops Alejandro was kind of looking for a crazy bounce, couldn't get it. So leadoff man on.
Watch your gaps, outfield.
And Richie Battistoni now trying to back that up. Again, Hexx need quite a few here to get back into it. And there's a rocket up the middle. Oliver, a little stutter step.
Let him go.
Meatball City will let him go there. You don't want to throw to third and have the ball get away. You want to try to keep a potential double play in order. Runners on the corner, nobody out here for Nick Kimmer.
Jose, easy one here.
And there's a high fly ball, Majerus. He'll just catch and throw it into second. They will let the run score. Of course, you're not throwing them out from there anyway.
Hey.
So 5 and dime, 10-5.
Off your right hand still.
And here's Brian Sloan.
You gotta force, you gotta force.
And Brian walks the dog into right field. Runners on the corner. So that's going to bring up Eric Nidzella. It looks like Rory Oakrey has grabbed a bat. He might be hitting for the young center fielder, Brandon. And here's Nidzella, one out here, runners on the corner. And Eric tries to go the other way, but Majerus can't make the catch. A run is going to score. Kimmer will get to third. So Nidzella just kind of poked it out there. Majerus, a great effort. Now it's 10-6. One more hit here, and Hexx will have the tie in the box. After they've been kind of dormant all game, as they're trying to come back late here from the dead. And it looks like Flashback is held on down there. And Rory Oakrey, line drive, snap throw, in time, double play to end the game. Pops Alejandro, kind of surprising there as he showed you the gun, as he threw it over the top. And double play to end the ball game. What a way to end the game. So looks like Flash did win a pair. Looks like they held on to beat March 4-2. Meatball City, 9 runs in the first 3 innings, made it stand up, and they win the ball game. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We hope you enjoyed the doubleheader, folks. We love all of you. Tell your friends, follow our page.